Seeing the lump, Rupert took a closer look. Large and covering most of the bark, it was enormous. Touching it was more than tempting, but he refused to do so. Squinting his eyes, he moved closer. The lump glistened in the sun, moist and shining. The size of it seemed to be increasing. The object appeared to be moving. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming stories. The logging business had been Rupert McKillen's life's work. With 68 years in the field, he had experienced countless challenges and been witness to nature's beauty, intertwined with harsh realities. He worked tirelessly to support his 3 children's college education. Despite providing for his family for decades, the logging business was a demanding occupation, requiring constant attention. Rupert noticed a peculiar lump on the trunk of a 35-year-old tree one sunny morning while inspecting his vast forest. When he examined it closely, a crease of concern appeared on his weathered face. As soon as Rupert saw the lump in the tree, he called his crew to inspect it closely and determine its origin. When Rupert realized the potential danger such an infection could pose to his forest, he knew he needed to act immediately. The logger gathered his team and explained the situation to them in a grave tone to them. To prevent the infection from spreading to other healthy trees, his crew chopped down the tree completely. A massive tree was cut down with their combined efforts. They meticulously carved their way through layers of thick bark and wood, using axes, saws, and heavy machinery. Their muscles ached from straining against the weight of their tools as sweat poured down their brows. The tree seemed determined to make their job as difficult as possible, despite their years of experience. Their eyes widened in disbelief as they approached the fallen tree. Standing in front of the broken tree, they stared at it. Inside the felled tree, the presence of a massive infection became evident. The wood around the lump was decayed and discolored, a testament to the danger it posed to the surrounding trees. Rupert's worries had been justified, but there was something more to be discovered. What was the source of the infection? Rupert yelled at his workers, "None of you saw this? You walk here every day." His workers were quiet. The infection had taken hold. Rupert's heart sank as he realized the implications. The infection could have spread to neighboring trees, putting the entire forest at risk. His mind raced with thoughts of how to contain and combat the threat. With urgency in his voice, he called upon his team to gather samples of the infected wood, their minds already envisioning the possibility of identifying the culprit and finding a solution. Days turned into weeks as they diligently worked to analyze the samples, consulting with experts and scientists to determine the nature of the infection. It was a formidable challenge, but Rupert's unwavering determination and the expertise of his team were unwavering. It was going to take time to get the lab results back, and Rupert had a lot of work to do. After a few more weeks, they received word from the lab. It was more serious than they had thought. The experts identified the infection as a highly aggressive and rare fungus that had somehow found its way into their forest. Armed with this knowledge, they mobilized an extensive effort to eradicate the fungus and prevent further spread. The lab experts advised Rupert of the chemicals found in the plant's roots. With meticulous care, they developed a plan that involved removing infected trees, treating the surrounding soil, and implementing preventive measures to protect the remaining healthy ones. Rupert's once thriving forest underwent a dramatic transformation as they worked tirelessly, battling against the relentless infection. The forest echoed with the sound of chainsaws and heavy machinery as the infected trees were felled one by one. Rupert thought that he could find 1 or 2 healthy trees, but all of them were even slightly infected. It was all a waste. The clever logger advised his workers to save the best wood. The ones that were not badly infected could be treated and used. He tried to salvage every bit of his crop to his dismay. But amidst the destruction, there was hope. New saplings were planted, and measures were taken to restore balance and ensure the forest's vitality. Months turned into years, and the battle against the fungus continued. It was a long and arduous process, but Rupert and his team persevered. The infection slowly receded. It had cost him a lot of extra money. He now had to pay back a loan of $10,000 for the tree treatment and wood care. He was on the brink of bankruptcy. His whole family was helping to try and pay off the loan to save the business. Sometimes Rupert just felt like selling it all and retiring. What had become of his logging business? It was not what he thought he would be doing in his golden years at all. Rupert had to hire a geological surveyor to assess his land. Every 3 months he would come in and take samples of the soil and tree bark. His name was Samuel Smith, and he was very good at his job. Samuel crouched to scoop soil samples, placing them into a vial. Given last month's results, the chlorine content has significantly increased, he said, examining the vial. Rupert frowned in confusion. "It's the chemicals, Mr. McKillen. They've infiltrated the soil," Samuel explained sharply. Rupert struggled to follow, but nodded. "We need to assess the water you use for irrigation. Do you understand?" "Yes," Rupert replied. "My irrigation system is top-notch, and my trees are thriving." "I don't doubt that," Samuel said. "But what's in the water?" Samuel inspected the irrigation system and tanks. "This all looks well-maintained and hygienic," Samuel remarked after his assessment. Rupert was losing his patience. It seemed as though the investigation was never going to end. It was almost the end of day, and Rupert had a few more errands to run. He excused himself from Samuel's company and walked outside for a breath of fresh air. Lost in his thoughts, suddenly Rupert noticed something bizarre that he hadn't seen in those parts before. Rupert looked across the valley and noticed a massive factory, its chimneys spewing thick black smoke. The smoke quickly engulfed the valley, forcing him inside, coughing. The next morning, Rupert walked through his forest, reflecting on its former lushness and his connection to the old trees he planted with his father. Rupert peered through the fence at the chemical factory he'd noticed the night before. He was shocked to see men in hazmat suits dumping liquid from blue barrels into the water. Carefully, Rupert recorded a few minutes of the activity, though the foliage obstructed his view. After the men sped back to the factory, Rupert ran to the worksite, desperate to contact Samuel. Weak signal and a dying phone left him unable to reach him. Trying to stay focused, Rupert directed his loggers while waiting for a chance to share his findings, knowing time was critical. Rupert felt sorry for his men toiling away, knowing their lives depended on the farm. As they worked, they unearthed something unusual tangled in the roots of a felled tree. Curious, Rupert carefully untangled the muddy object and discovered an ancient, rusted compass, likely dating back to the 1700s. Taking the compass to an appraiser, Rupert was astonished to learn it was worth $5,000. The discovery felt like a much-needed win. The appraiser confirmed the compass was an 18th century artifact with significant historical value, potentially worth more than $5,000. Rupert felt awe and pride at uncovering such a connection to the past, hidden in a 35-year-old tree. While marveling at the discovery, Samuel called back. Rupert eagerly explained, "I found the source. You have to come back to the farm." Samuel agreed, arriving later with a lab kit to investigate. That evening, Rupert led Samuel to the boundary. With a clear view of the truck's logo, Parkins Petrochemicals, Rupert recorded everything. Shocked, Samuel assured Rupert they could prove contamination. "If we link the river water to the tree infection, we can sue them," he said. Rupert felt a glimmer of hope for justice. While waiting for Samuel to submit the evidence, Rupert became a local celebrity. News of the ancient compass spread, drawing interest from historians and collectors fascinated by its story. Offers poured in, but Rupert decided to safeguard his find, using its value to support his children's education and future. The compass symbolized Rupert's love for history and the forest. Instead of selling it, he donated it to a local museum so others could learn from its legacy. The museum honored him with a display and plaque, and visitors marveled at the artifact's rich history. Meanwhile, the legal case progressed. Rupert was called to court, armed with undeniable evidence. The ruling shut down the factory and launched an investigation. Though Rupert knew he had made enemies, he felt justified. Rupert returned to his business with renewed determination. As the years went by, Rupert's logging business flourished, and his children graduated college, carving out their own paths. Rupert's true legacy wasn't just his business success, but the values he passed on: respect for nature, the importance of history, and the courage to stand for what's right. For his family, the compass symbolized their father's dedication and the hidden stories that connected the past to the future. Thank you for watching. If you like this story, don't forget to hit the like button, subscription, and ring the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming stories.